I had the door open and I heard some dogs hooping and hollering. And that's pretty unusual out here. There's no sound. You don't hear dogs barking. You don't hear cars going by. You don't hear people talking or yelling or anything like that. So when I heard those dogs, I went over to the door and one was under the tiny house and the other one was staring at the wheel, and this is what I saw. Gotcha. Good dog. On a different note, all the cabinet parts are here. I went to pick some more stuff up and then I got back and the trim was here. How about that? This is absolutely the second most nerve-wracking thing that I've done while building this house. The first was putting up the beam, the ridge beam on top of the framing. The second one was cutting this hole, because this is in the ceiling of the kitchen and I spent so much time trying to get it to look perfect. Multiple coats of primer, sanding, multiple coats of paint. So luckily I cut that first hole and found the wires right away. My friend Brent said the other day that he liked how I showed not just all the good stuff. So angry. But first of all, I cut the hole, which I said was nerve-wracking, and I cut it a little bit too small, and I tried to force it in, and boom, pop, pop, pop. See those? It doesn't look like I'm pointing at them, but I'm pointing at them. So there's that. Then you see the wire, pulled the wires out, perfect spot. Got it all hooked up to the receiver, plugged it in to our battery, and I couldn't get it to work. And I tried everything, and the instructions are terrible, and it's really not that hard. It's just 2 wires, so how hard could it be, right? Right? Well, turns out I'm going crazy, and it's really hard. So I did all these different things. I watched videos. There's nothing. You can't call the company. You can't do anything. I don't like this company. The company's Pyle, P-Y-L-E. But come to find out, the only thing I could think of is that maybe there wasn't power getting to the speaker. So I had the speaker up there. I had it plugged in, and there's just nothing happening. So I cut a little piece of wire, really little, and I plugged it in to the speaker, and it immediately worked. So this wire that's in the wall, I know where it goes. It goes up here, and then it goes over here, and then it goes to over here. Right? So then I'm thinking, okay, it's cut. How did that happen? How did my wire get nicked? This shielding on the wire is so thick, I couldn't cut it with my wire strippers. I had to use a knife to cut it, and then I couldn't peel it back. I had to cut it back to get it to peel off. So I was like, oh my gosh. And then I started thinking about it, and I happen to remember that one wire goes towards over there for a speaker. One wire goes back to the receiver, but then there should be a third wire. And the third wire goes out under the loft, and it's gonna go to a speaker right there on the ceiling. But I didn't see the third wire. Then I found it. It's up there. I just had to reach in a little bit farther. It's not long enough to reach the hole that I cut, so that kind of sucks, but thought this was gonna take like 20 minutes. I've been working on it for about 45 minutes, and I just figured out that I can't finish it. I have this idea in my mind. I can't wait to build the cabinets while listening to the radio on these speakers. but that's not gonna happen, at least not right now. I was angry that I didn't get anything done, so I decided to cut the next hole, and I measured it exactly the same as the other hole, except for that I flipped the measurements. So this one is 72 inches from the back wall and 60 inches from the door. And that one is 72 inches from the door and 60 inches from the back wall. It looks like crap. Then I went ahead and cut that hole in the correct spot. And the reason I did that, even though I'm angry and even though I lost my temper, by myself at least, is because I didn't want to come in tomorrow and make the same mistake twice. I knew what mistake I made. It wasn't that big of a deal to fix it. I'm gonna have to fix that one hole, but I cut it out with a oscillating tool, and I still have the circle piece. It's stuck up there. So I'll just have to patch that piece back in. It's gonna be fine. Nobody will ever know. None of you would ever know if I hadn't have posted this video, but I'll post the video nonetheless. But regardless, I will always know, and that's the part that sucks. I know, you know, home builders building their own houses. Not that I'm a home builder. I'm not a home builder right now. Who knows? But, you know, I've known a lot of home builders because of building cabinets, and I mentioned this in a video a long time ago. Some home builders get super detail oriented about their own personal house, and some of them are like, it's my house, just do it and get it done, you know. And I've seen it both ways. But I have another friend that's a home builder. He's kind of a home builder. He's the president of a large home building company, but he told me it's hard building your own house because then you see everything and you know everything that's going to be wrong with it. And that's exactly where I'm at. And funny story, I actually knew two home builders, and they each built a house. And I think, if I remember the story correctly, each of the two home builders, who were very old at the time, and this was like 10 years ago even, so they built their own house, and then neither one of them liked them, and then they literally just traded houses. This house is not for trade. Tomorrow's a new day. As Alexis, my friend Alexis Bingham says, we can do hard things. Doesn't mean it's fun, but here we are.